Hi, everyone, and welcome to Design Your Life, the podcast where we speak with everyday people about living with intention and creating a life that's really true to them. I'm super excited today to have with me, first of all, I'm your host, Jim Mantler. Let's not forget that. But I'm super excited to have with me DEI advocate and drag entertainer, Normand Hector. Normand, welcome to Design Your Life.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's definitely my pleasure. You and I, geez, we met I'd say about a year ago, and I could tell just from the first time I met you, you were just who you were. Normand Hector is Normand Hector. I don't know, you just seem to come off so authentic. I loved your energy, and it's funny when I started this podcast, I already knew in the back of my mind that I was going to have you on the show. So I'm super excited to have you.
Well, thank you so
And
much.
yeah, no, you're very welcome. Can you tell maybe just tell the audience quickly a little bit about yourself before we jump into
Yeah,
the first question?
yeah. So, you mentioned in the introduction that I'm a DEI expert or an advocate. So most people will hear the word DEI, but sometimes a lot of people don't know what DEI means. So it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And my job, which I take great pride in, Jim, is to make sure people are educated on understanding diversity, understanding people of different cultures, different races, understanding how important it is to make sure that the marginalized communities are still heard from and treated equally and fairly. And I do a lot of speaking about that. The E in it is equity, making sure that people are treated equally and fairly. Sometimes when you are uh, from a marginalized community, you might not feel you are being treated fairly or equally. So I make sure that I educate businesses and companies all over about the equity piece and of course inclusion. Um, it's important that everybody feels that they are included and that they feel like they are included. I take a lot of the inclusion conversation into the schools. I take a lot of it into my own job. Being the advocate for Hockey New Brunswick, I talk about these three buckets of things all the time, but even on a bigger scale. I travel around talking about DEI because it's not just about color of your skin. It's
Uh-huh.
about people that perhaps are in a wheelchair, people perhaps that are fighting different struggles and want to be felt and want to be made to feel like they are included and that they are being treated equally.
Right. And if someone wanted to get a hold of you to look into some of those educational sessions that you do or talks or anything like that, where would they be able to do that?
So there's a number of ways to get a hold of me. Usually, most people get a hold of me through LinkedIn, which is under Normand Hector, or they can get a hold of me through Facebook, which again is through Normand Hector, or they can get a hold of me through Red Carpet Productions, Normani Red Carpet Productions, and then get a hold of me through that. So there's different ways, or they can just simply pick up the phone and call me. My number is very well publicized. All they need to do is type in Normand Hector on the Googler, and all kinds of things will come up. And my contact information is there also.
Wonderful. No, that's great, and I'm sure we'll get into some deeper discussions as we go through the podcast here. Obviously, this podcast is all about designing your life, and I love sharing stories about just everyday people and how they design their life, to live an authentic but a joyful life, right? Because it's not always about just finding wealth or being famous. We're so bombarded with social media and just we wear these masks and we have these ideas and these preconceived notions that we have to be somebody to be happy and joyful. So I'm excited to hear your story. Now, I'm curious, what does designing your life mean to you personally?
You know, um, I will tell you this, Jim. When I first set out on this course, because I've changed my life, I've been married to my husband for 30 years. I've been with my husband for 33 years. And, once we decided that we were going to be together, we knew at that time that we had to live our lives authentically. We have daughters and children that we've raised, but more importantly, we want to be true to each other, but we also want to set an example to other people. For me, I don't like to pretend to be something that I'm not. I'm very much like you said, what you see is what you get. Now, some people may like it, some people may not. But really, all I'm doing is living my life fully and completely, which I didn't do when I was growing up because I hid and I didn't
Uh-huh.
live my true meaning of my true self, which I wish people would do earlier. I waited. I waited until I was much older to look in the mirror and say, "What are you doing? You have got to start living your life authentically and real." And I'm glad I did. Sad I didn't do it earlier because I missed out on a lot of things, but happy I did tap into it at this point in time in my life.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I want to circle back. When you said people may not like it, but before I do that, I'm noticing after doing a few of these podcasts, a common trend is people seem to realize later in life. And I'm really curious if it's just a maturity thing that kicks in, or I wonder what that is that really gets people to kind of connect and understand, okay, enough's enough. I'm not going to live that way. I don't know, maybe I might have to do a separate episode on that, because I noticed that as a trend, right? And I
Yeah,
don't know if it's
yeah,
just an age thing, we just get wiser as we get older. But go back to people may not like it because we tend to want to people please. And
right.
when you say that people may not like it, that's okay, right?
Yeah, it's 100% okay. It's 100% okay. I don't expect everybody to love me or even
Mhm.
like me, but I do expect people to respect me,
Right.
because I respect everybody. So I believe I deserve that back. Now, we
Absolutely.
can disagree or we can agree, but at the end of the day, we still need to respect one another. And that goes for anybody that's going to listen to this podcast.
Right.
I think that respect has gone out the door, and we just automatically start with the battling piece and the I don't like you piece. And we have a difference of opinions a piece. So that means I don't like you. I can tell you, I've had many conversations with people that may agree with what I do. I mean, I wear many different hats. I mean, I wear a hat as a DEI advocate for Hockey New Brunswick. I wear a hat for um, my job, at Horizon Health. I wear a hat for when I go out and talk to schools about children being treated fairly and made to feel comfortable in their own skin.
Mhm.
But I also wear a different hat as a drag entertainer,
Right.
and many people don't like that. I can tell you, I've lost friends, I've lost colleagues because they didn't understand. Now, they can still have me in their circle as their friend because I've said, please, because I'm doing this doesn't mean you have to dislike me. But
Right.
people automatically go to that. And that's when I say people may not like the things I do.
Uh-huh.
That's because they don't understand. And
Right.
if you fully understood, you would understand that people do different things all the time. People do different things that enrich their lives all the time. Maybe it's something, that we need to, like you said, have another topic of conversation on. Because when people choose different things in their lives and they choose to go down a different path, as long as they're not hurting anybody or hurting themselves,
Mhm.
there should be no reason why people would turn their back on you.
Right.
That's
Right.
my opinion. That's my opinion. But again, I mean, I'm one person. I can't spread this around to millions and millions of people, but I'm trying.
Yeah, and the important part there is don't it's okay if people don't like it.
Right.
We're not meant to make everybody happy. It's not our
Right.
job to make everybody happy or everybody comfortable. So now obviously, growing up, going through changes and living authentically, it wasn't why, as you said, you notice as you get older, right? And you didn't live that way your whole life. Now,
No.
do you feel you've always had a say in your life's direction?
I would say that growing up, I chose not to allow myself to have that say in my life's direction.
Mhm.
I chose to allow myself to listen to other people on how my life should be. Okay. Now that's an important piece because people they should be living their lives for themselves, but you will find people live their lives based on what other people expect of them or from them. And I did that. I did that. And I shouldn't have, but I did.
Right.
Now, Do I regret any of that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because I learned a great deal about myself, but it also helped me be the person I am today and it helps a person become stronger with who they are. Now, again, like I said, growing up, if I had tapped in to this wonderful, authentic feeling that I'm feeling now, I wouldn't have missed out on my prom. I didn't go to my prom because I didn't feel like I would belong. Um, I didn't I didn't live my life fully growing up because in my mind I wanted to please other people and what they thought would be suitable for me.
Right. And let's touch on that a little bit though, because you mentioned you don't have any regrets, and I think that's important as well because I mean I think everybody listening and watching can definitely think back to stuff that they should regret or maybe feel regret about now. There's so much just misery and hate and depression out there, and a lot of that has to do with holding on to that regret. There's one thing about finding yourself now, but you also got to be able to let go, as you said, and not hold on to that regret. I'm listening to Michael Singer. I don't know if you've heard of Michael Singer,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I'm going through and listening to his podcast now. And he's just really talking about how to it's okay to kind of think back to past events, past feelings, and things, and let them be, and then let them go through. We think we have to hang on to it or block it and push it aside, and it's important to not have that regret and just let it. It's okay to feel it and just let it pass,
Right,
right?
right.
And don't
But a
hold
lot of people don't understand that because they will spend
on
time and time and time again
it.
beating themselves up over things that they've done in their past. I don't do that. I don't do that. I look at my past life growing up. I mean, I had wonderful parents.
Mhm.
Um, I had supportive parents, but I put those labels on myself,
Right,
because I saw what society was expecting and what society would want from somebody like me. And I placed them on myself. My parents didn't. I did that to myself. So when I say that I have no regrets, why would I have regrets? I placed those restrictions on me. Nobody
right,
did that.
yep,
I listened to what society felt and I listened to what society felt and shared at that time. And I felt, well, you know what? That's probably what I should be doing because that's what society sees as normal.
right.
When in fact, do we even know what really normal is?
Right. That's an open question because
Right,
you're right.
right,
What is normal?
right,
Oh man, it takes me back to a movie. What the bleep do we know? For
right,
anybody out there, if you've never seen it, watch it because it'll make you definitely question what's normal and what's not. Right?
right,
And there is no normal. That's the reality. That it's we just live life and flow through it. Whatever brings us joy. I don't think you can really give a designation to what's normal and what's not, because what's normal for you, Norman, is may not be normal for me,
right,
and vice
right,
versa, right? So,
exactly.
yeah,
But
yeah,
even though that is the case, it doesn't mean that you would look at me and dislike me
right,
because I am different.
right, 100%.
And I would look at you the same way. It
Yeah,
doesn't mean that I would
absolutely,
look at you and dislike you because you are different and you live your life differently.
right, right. And now was there a specific moment or experience that made you reevaluate, and what was that trigger, or what was the aha moment for you that okay, I want to live authentically. This is not me.
Well, I think it was when we lost our son, when my husband and I lost our son. I think when I looked at him, my husband going through that pain of losing
Mhm.
his only son, and I was still worried about what people were thinking about me being with a man,
Right.
because I
Okay.
was still coming out of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you stop for a moment and you think for yourself, hold it. You have got to stop worrying about what other people think.
Mhm.
You've just lost a child. And we got through that by working together and me grasping a hold of who I really am Now, I didn't do this alone because I had a strong mother
Uh-huh.
who was the rock of everything for me. So my mother would say to me at times, "You have got to stop living your life for other people and live your life for yourself." Now, my mother was she was a Christian lady.
Uh-huh.
She went to church every Sunday, very much heavily involved in her faith. But she also looked at me and knew that I should be living my life authentically and fully. And, when you have your mother, and listen, my father was a great man, a lovely man, but my mother was the one, that said, and this was when we lost her son, "You have got to stop worrying about what other people think. And you're going to have to really now, Norman, pull up and step up in ways that you never thought you were going to have to for a man that you've chosen to love and be with." And I did.
Right. Wow. Yeah, it's I'm just digesting that. But yeah, obviously, I couldn't imagine what that would be like to go through.
Yeah.
Um, but to have that, it's a shame because a lot of people don't realize it until they really have that life altering, moment, right? Or
And it
that
shouldn't have
something.
taken that.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have
No.
taken that.
Right. Right.
But maybe, it shouldn't have taken that. And if anybody, like for the people that are listening, don't wait for these life altering moments. I beg you not to wait.
Yeah.
I mean, we live a wonderful life now. We do. But of course, the pain is still there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you share? I mean, maybe this is the time as well. But a time when you felt misaligned or out of control, or would you say that that was really it?
I mean, I felt like I was misaligned when I went to high school. I felt like I was misaligned when I made decisions, after high school. I felt like I was misaligned when I was 19, because I thought I knew everything, but I didn't, you know? So there's many, many times when I felt misaligned. Did that make me feel misaligned? Having that kind of a sad, impactful situation happen? It made me feel more aligned
Okay.
because I had to step up.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
I had to really make sure that I may be a queer Black man, but guess what? I'm also a father and a husband of somebody who is hurting.
Right.
So these things come into your mind and you step up in ways that you never dreamed of. And I mean, I had to step up when my mother got sick. These are things that I had to really take a step back and think, how am I going to do this? But you
Uh-huh.
know what? You find the inner strength and you step up and you do it. And you may feel like you're going to be misaligned when you do it, but you're not, because you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do because the time has come and you're being called upon.
Yeah, let's go back. Because you mentioned too how you felt misaligned when you were 19, and I mean, I think everybody feels misaligned when they're in high school, going through that. What would you tell yourself now? And if you were to go back and talk to your 19-year-old self, what would you say
So
today?
I would say this. I worried a lot about the bullies. I worried a lot about the name calling. I worried a lot about my own personal way I looked.
Hmm.
And I didn't like the way I looked when I was going to high school. Um, I would put on a show and a front to make people feel like I did, but I didn't. And I would say to people now going to school, either junior high or high school, don't allow bullies, don't allow people to control your happiness. That is my one piece of advice that I would give them. Don't allow other people to control your happiness. You control your happiness.
Right.
You control it. You do the things you want to do. And if you feel like you are not doing the things you want to do, create things that you want to do. And that's what I had to start doing. I had to start creating things that I wanted to do.
Right.
And listen, high school was no fun for me. It was no fun for me. I had friends, I had good friends in high school, but there was still that misalignment
Uh-huh.
that I was experiencing.
Right,
It
right.
wasn't true to myself. I knew that I was gay going to high school, but you would
Yep.
never say that. You would never ever say that. Back in the 80s, never,
Right.
never.
And what helped you push through those moments of doubt or difficulties?
I go back to my mom. I mean,
Hmm.
many a conversation with my mom. I would always come home, and I would always say this to my mom. I remember coming home and saying to my mom one time, "I want to be white and I want to have long blonde hair."
Really?
This was when I was younger, going to school, and my mother looked at me and
Hmm.
she laughed and she said, "Well, guess what? There's many things I can do, Norman. I can't do that." Because in my mind, I thought to align me,
Hmm.
I needed to be those things.
Right, right.
This was going to school. I needed to be those things. I wanted to be all of these things that I wasn't. And
Yep.
I definitely didn't want to be gay. Definitely did
Right.
not want to be gay. Oh my God, definitely not.
Do you think social media is, or we'll say access to social media, say for the younger generation, do you think it's helpful in today's society with so much openness out there, or do you still think it's a hindrance in terms of just having access to negativity, social bullying, and stuff like that? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a good question, but it's also a hard question
Hmm.
because it depends on how you're using social media.
Right.
If you're using it to project positivity, if you're using it to spread happiness, if you're using it to be positive, then social media can be used for good things. Now, of course, people will come at you and say, "Why are you always so positive?" But you don't
Hmm.
have to engage. You never
Right.
have to engage with people. So I would say it depends on how you're using it. Do I think it's good for kids to be using social media? I think that young children shouldn't use it. I think that social media can be a friend or a foe.
Uh-huh.
It can be a friend when you need it to be, but it also can be the devil when you need it to be. And those two things don't match. Those two things don't mix. You
No,
know,
no, and I mean, obviously, there's many different answers we can give to that, but I'm curious about it because again, it just goes back to how I'm finding again, the trend is we seem to become more authentic as we become more mature, and
Mhm.
I just wonder how much social media will either hold people back or will it get them there quicker. But to your point, it's really, yeah, it really is
And it
based
also
off what
depends on how you
content they're
brand
taking
yourself.
in.
And it
Right,
also
right.
depends on how you brand yourself too. Because I've branded myself now is this is who I am.
Hmm.
And listen, people will say to me all the time, "Why are you talking about this so much? Why do you put so much out there?" Because I need to be my own advocate.
Right.
I need to advocate for myself because other people will not. Now,
No.
listen, yeah, but listen, I've had people step up and say, "You know what? I'm going to spread this and I'm going to say this." And I'm so grateful for that.
Mhm.
But if I didn't advocate for myself and do the things that I'm doing for myself, nobody else would. And
Right.
I'm telling this to everybody. Now, maybe they do have wonderful people that will advocate for them, but I'm going to tell you, if I didn't advocate for myself, I wouldn't be sitting here today and have I wouldn't be sitting here today blessed with the amount of things that I've been able to do, the amount of opportunities I've been able to take
Right. Right.
part in. Yes.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say it's mentally healing as well.
Hmm.
Obviously, you know a little bit about my story,
Yes.
my journey recently, and stuff like that. And when I was going to counseling, a little bit of my past experience was just past trauma through childhood and that stuff you may not know. Um, but one of the things she said is, the best thing you can do for yourself is start blogging it and sharing it with other people. And this was before, we started Studio for Good. And it's kind of really what drove that. Because although I love sharing these stories for other people, it's also, as you say, it's self healing for myself as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it has done so much for me doing these blogs, doing these podcasts. And I'm an introvert.
Wow.
Most
Yes.
people may not believe that because of my sales background and stuff, but I
Right.
am I
Right.
am naturally an introvert.
Right.
These
Right.
things are not comfortable for me to do, um, but it's self healing.
It is self
You
healing.
have to put yourself out there.
You do. And
Yeah.
for the people that jump on the bandwagon of saying that you're too loud, you're too much, You
Mhm.
shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be saying that. That is their issue. That is
Right.
not my issue. That is their issue. And I will continue doing the things that I need to do despite the negativity that I may receive. Now,
Right.
lately, I don't receive a lot of negativity. And when I do, I just typically do not engage.
Right. That's definitely a choice.
Right.
Um, what brings you joy now?
Oh,
Genuinely
many
and
things.
consistently.
Many things brings me joy. Um, I have a wonderful husband who loves me unconditionally. And I think that that is something that should bring you joy. I'm doing things in my life and they could be deemed very questionable, for some people in different relationships, but he loves me unconditionally. That brings me joy. Um, my grandchildren and my children bring me joy. My family brings me joy, and my dog brings me joy. Being able to speak and share on the DEI side of things, that
Mhm.
brings me great joy because there's nothing more satisfying than seeing somebody look at me that may have never met somebody like me and say, wow, I had no idea. Now I get it. Now I understand. So that brings me joy also. And
Right.
not because I'm changing somebody, but because I'm getting someone to think differently and open their mind to different things and new ideas and different people. That should bring everybody joy.
Right. And how do you express your true self today, whether it be creatively, emotionally, spiritually? How does Norman express his authenticity?
Fashion.
Yeah,
Fashion.
fashion.
Oh, yeah. I'm all about fashion. Um, I feel that I should be able to wear whatever I want. I should be able to wear it without anybody looking at me and critiquing me. Um, and I do now. I do. When I go out the door, I wear whatever I want. And I'm very proud to wear the many, many different styles of fashion. But that to me helps build me and make me stronger.
How has love, compassion, or acceptance played a role in shaping your life, your life's path now?
So, well, love is important, but compassion is equally as important because you can't have one without the other.
Uh-huh.
You can't have compassion and not love.
Right.
So it plays a big part in my life because when I'm delivering my messages, I make sure that there is compassionate and compassion in that message so that people understand that it's coming from here, not just here, but it's coming from my heart.
Right.
So they'll know that when I deliver these messages and I'm delivering these talks, that it's really all about making sure that people look at people with a little bit more love and a little bit more compassion, because people aren't doing that now. We live in a world now where people have forgotten all about love and compassion. And that is sad.
Right.
That is sad. And we
Yep.
should never forget about that.
No. And, I mean, it ties in, I believe it ties into acceptance. Because I don't think if we can accept ourselves, how do we show love? How do we show
True.
compassion? Right.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think people really struggle with that.
They
And
do.
I really do believe that accepting, you really have to sit with yourself. And I've been big on this lately over the last 6 months. You really need to find the time to be with yourself and learn who you really are and be
Right.
accepting of that. Because until you do that, it's just so hard to give it to other people without being, well, we'll say fake or thinking you have to do it because you have to and not because you truly want to, or, you know, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that acceptance for me too is important. However, I used to think that being accepted or receiving acceptance from people was the be all to end all.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I accept who I am,
Right.
as long as I can look myself in the mirror and say, Norman, you're doing okay today,
Yeah.
then I'm good. Then I am good. And I think
Right.
everybody should say that to themselves. You look in the mirror and say to yourself, you're doing okay today. You got through another day.
Yep. Yeah. And what is okay? Redefine what okay is. You know, and
Right.
I get it. I mean, we have to survive. We need food on the table,
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. But being okay doesn't just have to be that. You know, you can be okay just taking a walk in the woods and or
Right.
getting back to nature, or just doing
Yeah.
something for yourself
Right.
and
I
just being
wish
okay
people
with
would
that.
stop getting so wrapped up in what's happening in the world
Uh-huh.
to dictate their life and their way the way they're going to spend their day, because people will watch the news in the morning and they'll come into work, maybe they might go into their office a little upset because they've watched something or they've heard something. Don't allow yourself to get wrapped up in that.
Right.
Allow yourself to enjoy yourself, because
Yeah.
before you know it, that time's going to be gone.
Oh, 100%. I
And you're going to look and say to yourself, why did I do that? Why did I spend time talking about something that was on CNN when I could have been spending time walking in the woods?
Yeah, no, I stopped watching the news so long ago. I go play cards with my mother-in-law every Wednesday night, and
Yes. Yeah.
CNN is on
Yeah.
nonstop.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
I
think people
just
have to
yeah,
really, especially in this climate, woo, can you
yeah,
imagine?
yeah,
Can
yeah.
you imagine? And I know people feel the need to be informed, but take it in small doses.
Uh-huh.
I mean, right now, if you're taking the news and what's going on in the world in big, large doses, good luck to you.
Right.
Good luck to you, because you're probably not living a happy life.
So true. Um, what is something that you've learned about yourself through going through the process of redesigning who Normand Hector is?
Something I've learned about myself. Oh, well, it's easy. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. I've done things that I never dreamed I'd ever be doing in my own city. I have performed at hockey games. I've been on TSN. I've flown all over Canada. Is me. Is me. Not me pretending, is me.
Uh-huh.
And people knowing my background and people knowing who I am. And I say this, that to me is worth $1 million. Even more than that.
Right.
You know? And that is the best feeling in the world. And if people don't know, then I'll explain it to them. And if they're finding it a little bit uncomfortable, I'll help them get through that. And if they still don't want to get through it, listen, I tried. I tried. But at the end of the day, it's just a wonderful feeling just to be able to go and do and be who you are,
Right.
without anybody looking at you. And you don't have to pretend. I don't have to pretend. Oh, I better not tell them that I'm a drag entertainer. Or I better not tell them that I'm married to a man. Or I better not tell them that I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. And it will never, ever be that way again. Ever, ever.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, and I'm happy to hear that. Being you is worth $1 million, and that's
Yeah.
really that is the riches that people need in their lives,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Can you imagine at my age still pretending to be something that I'm not? Well, there's no
No.
fun in that. I can tell you, because I live it.
um, what's a piece of advice or a mindset shift that changed everything for you?
I would say that allow people to tell their story and listen with an open
Hmm.
mind. Allow people to tell tell you their story and listen with an open mind. That's my piece of advice, because a lot of people are so close-minded that they don't allow people to express who they really are. And then
Right.
when they do, they don't want to attempt to try to even understand, And like I said, you don't have to agree,
Right.
but at least make the attempt to try to understand. I think that every person that comes into my life offers me some kind of a teaching moment, whether it be something that they deliver at that time and I use it, or whether it be something that I've heard them say and I bring it up at another time in my life. Every person that comes into your life is bringing you something, whether it be a piece of information or they're sharing something, or they're, you know, talking to you about their life. I think that that is so important. Allowing people and listening to people that are different with an open mind. I mean, that's the one piece of advice I would give.
Yeah. It'd be great if we can give the magic bullet on how to do that, though. But
Yeah.
I will say, based off my experience and what I've learned over the last while, is ego plays such a big role into that.
It sure does.
And I think if we can shed our egos,
Yeah.
you know, and not have one,
Yeah.
man, it would make such a big shift in society as a whole.
I was talking to a friend today, and she was talking to a friend of hers that she's known for a long, long time.
Uh-huh.
And the topic of me never came up in detail as it did today when she was talking to her, because my friend is planning on going to one of my events, a pride event.
Okay.
Now, she's not part of the community, but she definitely supports the community. She loves me, she accepts me, she
Uh-huh.
knows who I am. There's no barriers there. But she was telling her friend that she was going to one of my events, and the friend that she's known for many years
Uh-huh.
immediately got her back up
Really?
and said, "Why are you going to that? Why would you go to that? Well, you're not part of that community. Like, why would you even want to go to that?" And she tried to explain that it's more than just going to the event. I'm going to support my friend.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to support my friend perform. Um, and I want to go because I'd like to see it. But that person couldn't understand that.
Right.
That person couldn't get that. And the call didn't end favorably because my friend said, you know, I left the call feeling a little bit dismayed and a little bit, I needed to leave that call
Yep.
because it was such an uncomfortable feeling that she had felt, never having talked about it. And all because this person didn't want to open their mind. Now, this person doesn't know me,
Right.
just knows of things and has judged everybody and painted everybody with
Right.
the same brush, which again, people need to stop doing, painting everybody with the same brush. Everybody's different.
And is your friend still attending?
Yes.
And because I want to highlight that because
Yes.
she said I had a feeling that this is uncomfortable. She had to leave that call.
Yeah.
And
For
it's
the other
important.
person, for the other person on the call, it was
Yeah,
uncomfortable for
yeah.
them.
But it's
But
important
but
that
no,
she
she's
had the feeling and could read
yeah,
and know that her body's telling her, "Whoa, no, I'm doing the right
right,
thing," and
right,
not push it down and then go
right.
with society,
Right. Well,
right?
yes,
So
my friend is still going.
good,
Will still come and enjoy the show. And again, why not? Why
right?
not? It's a show. It's a show with costumes and music and dancing. It
Yeah.
just happens to be somebody dressing in drag doing it.
Now, if you could give one message, normally I would ask if you could give one message to someone, but let's just if you could give one message to her friend or someone else who may feel stuck or unfulfilled, what would that message be?
Um, you are closing your mind to endless possibilities that are happening in the world that are going to teach you things about other people. Maybe one day you will have a grandchild. Maybe one day you will have your children come up to you and ask you questions. You want to be able to answer them in a way that they will look at everybody fairly and equally and understand that there should be no hate. There should be zero hate in this world for people that are
Right.
doing nothing other than wanting to exist.
And yeah, no, I like that. And it goes with that. Life is meant to be experienced. We're not here just existing. We're
Right.
experiencing life. And there's
Right.
nothing wrong with experiencing
Right. I mean,
different
I do
things.
things. I do things Now, Jim, with my husband that I never dreamed I'd be doing, I go four
Mhm.
wheeling.
Yep.
I go four wheeling. Did I ever think I was going to be doing that in my life? No. But do I do it? Absolutely, I do it. I absolutely do it because I know that it will probably show me something and teach me something different. So that's why I do it. And I
Right.
also do it too because I know he wants me to come along. Now, I could say, no, not going, don't want to do it, close minded. I have no use for that. But why would I? I'm missing out on doing things.
Right.
And this is what people need to stop doing. Don't close your mind to opportunities and what's going on out there in the world. They're all lessons that you're going to learn from.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, life is definitely meant to be experienced for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, to close it out, do you have a favorite quote, mantra, or phrase that you would love to share with everybody listening and watching?
My favorite quote, mantra, or phrase. Um, I mean, I have many that I can't say on here, but my mother always used to give me. My mother always used to say to me, and I listen. I talk about my mom a lot because she she really helped me become who I'm supposed to be, and who I am today. But I listen to my mom a lot say, "Don't worry about what other people are thinking about you. Worry about what's going on in your own backyard."
Uh-huh.
And she'd always say that. Don't worry about what other people are thinking about you. Worry about what's going on in your own backyard. And you know what? That's how I live my life.
I love that. Yeah, or if not your backyard, your own mind.
Your own mind, right?
You shared one with me too, and I just wonder how this is important.
Yes.
But I am the ancestors' wildest dream
Oh yes.
and my
Oh yeah.
own boldest version.
Oh yes. Yes. Because I'm doing things now, Jim, that my ancestors are looking at thinking, I mean, they're probably rolling over in their grave. Okay. Let's just face facts here. Let's just face facts. They're probably rolling over in their grave. Now, I will say they're probably rolling over with very much pride and proud feelings because I am doing things as a queer black man that we're only just, these things should not be happening, to me, but they are. So when I say that about my ancestors, I'm thinking they're looking down at me. And listen, I always say my grandmother, God rest her soul, she's looking down now thinking, well, you were always going to do something, and I never knew it was going to be this, but you keep doing it. You keep doing it, my boy, because you're doing it well.
Beautiful. Norman, listen, I appreciate you coming on the Design Your Life podcast. It's been a pleasure having you, and I am sure you and I will connect again for a more deeper discussion on some of the other topics that we would love to hit on. So thank you for
Thank you so
being on
much,
here.
Jim. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And for everybody watching, for everybody listening, listen, please like the channel. We're happy to bring more and more content. So if you want to stay up to date on the newest episodes, please like and subscribe to the Design Your Life podcast. And remember, you are the architect, you are the author of your life. Design it the way